Saporista are proud sponsors of the Wonderbird Show. Treat yourself to the wonderful taste of the Mediterranean, supplied by local artisans.
Hello.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
How is everyone?
No, it's interesting, when we spoke to Stefan Dennis the other day, when he was talking about, that when they have Australia, when they have Christmas, even though it's boiling hot there, in all the shops, it has all the winter stuff.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
It's fascinating.
I love that.
Yeah.
I used to love it in the States, when I was in the States as well, because it's not really cold there in California, when they used to have, like all the reindeer on the beach.
I was going to say also that across the boulevards, they'd have in the sunshine and the palm trees, they'd have Santa Claus in lights, and like, what?
I know. It's very, very romantic. And yet when you go to countries where they ski, like Switzerland and places like that, it's not as, they don't do as much, which is crazy, I suppose, because they've got the proper scenery, haven't they? They've just got, they've got
they don't do anything. It's true.
I went skiing once. I went with my mum. I went to Kitzbühel, and I spent most of my time being like Bridget Jones, falling off the T-bar, and I literally falling flat on my face and just laughing all the time.
That's lovely.
They say if you can ice skate.
Can you ski?
If they say you can ice skate, they say you can stand up, and it's not true. Believe me.
Can you ski, Sherry?
Well, I can ice skate because I've always ice skated. So I've been skiing a few times and I can do it, but I preferred to go halfway up the piste and sit in the hotel bar.
There you go. There you go.
And just
you there.
But the only thing is, in those places, a cup of coffee is like £10.50 or something, or £12.50. But I kind of didn't like the snow, and because it was very wet.
Yes,
and I didn't
never done it.
Does tend to be,
it's just very wet.
I think our breasts, I'm sorry to talk to our listeners about our breasts, but we have to. It makes it kind of hard for us to ski because we're top heavy, really.
I hear you.
Some are, yes, some are. More than
but
others.
the clothes are nice. The skiing clothes are nice. If you can get some gear, that's lovely to wear.
Yeah, so I suppose we could just look good on the slopes, me and Harriet.
No, I didn't. I just thought it was too cold. It was all too cold.
It's too cold, and so
too wet.
Getting to you nice skiing clothes, sitting and having lots of alcohol halfway up. That's a skiing.
That's the only way to do
Perfect.
it.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Pretending you've just been skiing. Yeah,
pretending we'll do that. Skiing.
Can we stop talking about Christmas and the winter? Can we stop talking about Christmas
it's
and the winter,
summer.
please? Are we all insane? Please bring in a guest.
How do we get here?
Yes. So I'm bringing in a wonderful guest today. Everybody knows this lady. I mean, the main thing I suppose we all think of her as is Bouquet of Barbed Wire, because she was just sensational in that. So this is the wonderful Susan Penhaligon. There she is.
Hello.
Hey, you.
Gorgeous.
Hi.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Listen, Susan, you've just finished The Mousetrap with Louise Jameson on the other end of you, actually, if you pardon the expression. But did you love every second of it?
I loved every second of it. I can't enthuse more about it because we were the first play to open in the West End.
Yeah.
And of all the plays in the West End, it should be The Mousetrap because it's in its 70th year.
Amazing.
And and shall I tell you something? Some years ago, I rather grandly said, "I'm never going to do The Mousetrap."
Oh,
and I'm not going to do it in the West End. Never say never, and the experience I've had on it has been so fantastic.
Oh.
The first night was unbelievable. Everybody were on their feet cheering. I think a theatre had opened,
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, how fabulous. Susan, I want you to tell all the girls about where you live, which is not a narrowboat. I'm going to let you explain to them what it is and why you live there and how wonderful your life is on that boat.
Well, it's a Dutch barge. It's a 1922 Dutch Luxie motor barge. It's 90 foot by 20 foot.
Wow.
And I'm moored on the tidal Thames, which means that the boat goes up and down. But I only float about twice in 24 hours. So most of the time I'm on the mud, which sometimes means I tilt that way. So when I fry an egg, the egg kind of sometimes slides. And well, what is it? It's a lifestyle choice, I suppose.
When did you
I love
make
the
it?
water.
When did you make that choice and why?
Oh, I think it was a sort of midlife crisis. I can't remember. I mean, I was brought up in St Ives. Our house was on the sea, and it was the water. I'm just a water baby, and I just love this is the nearest thing I could get to being in Cornwall. That sounds quite daft, doesn't it? But
No,
you know, I've got birds, I've got seagulls, I've got herons, I've got, you know, of course, it is a challenge, of course, it's different. And I will have to say it's not for everyone. It really isn't. So
yes.
I live next to a canal, Susan. So I look out to a canal, to all the rivers, the boats and everything. And I'm always telling the girls, I always call it death on the canal, because you do see, I mean, I end up trying to save boy ducks from taking girl ducks not to the cinema and doing terrible things to them. So I'm always trying to save the ducks, and you do see things that I'm sure you do. You're actually on the water, so you see more than I do.
Yes. You mean the bird life? You mean
yes?
Yes,
it's quite cruel sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes. I find it a bit. I can take it.
There are rats, of course. I mean, they've got more and more, but big rats. You know, they look like moles. They look like small kittens, because there's quite a few of us along this stretch where I am, and
right.
Of course the rats feed on all. You know, I chuck everything overboard for the birds, because we have a couple of herons that are quite tame. But luckily, my dog is a ratter. So
Great.
I was going to ask you about your dog. Is that your dog?
So that does get a bit cool. Yes. Sorry?
Is that your dog, darling?
Yes.
Tell me about
my
your
little Patterdale rescue.
Talk to me about your dog.
Oh, well, she's a rescue.
Yeah.
I got her from All Dogs Matter. Was a lot of actors are involved in.
Yes, they are.
I'm involved.
Yes.
Yeah. Peter Egan, I think, is involved with
Yeah,
All Dogs
Yes,
Matter.
that's right.
I've never had a terrier before, and I mean, she was a nightmare at the beginning, because she, you don't know you actually don't know what's happened to them before, and she was not socialized at all. So she would go for other dogs. That's difficult. I mean, that's really difficult. But I've trained her out of it now, and
Well done.
she's a great rat catcher.
There you go. Do you move does your barge or your, what is it? How do you describe it? Not a barge. It's a
Dutch barge.
Yes, it's a Dutch barge.
Do you move your neighbours? Do you disappear up the canal and change where you are, or do you stay where you are all the time?
No, you know, I'm on the Thames. I mean, the Thames is like the M1, honestly, where I am. You know, it's so busy. We've got the rowers. I can't tell you. Rowers are out in all weathers. Yeah. And I watch them in sleet and hail, and they're rowing against the waves and I thought, my God, we're really good in this country at producing rowing teams, and of course we win it at the Olympics. That's what we win at, don't we?
Yeah.
Rowing. And does your dog, how is it having a dog on a barge? Is it different, or is it always the same?
Well, I miss a garden. It means you've got to take them out all the time, you know.
Yes.
that's a little bit of pressure there, you know.
Yeah.
But I suppose it keeps me fit. I don't know.
Susan, what is it? You've got a patty. She's got a patty dog. Is she around? Can we have a look at her?
She's actually on the deck because they love the sun, so she's up there sunbathing on the deck.
She's got something better to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Susan, I want to talk to you about the iconic series A Bouquet of Barbed Wire. I absolutely loved you, and I think that at the time, because of the sort of show it was, that the whole nation was on the back of their seats and knowing what was going to happen. Your character was such a little bitch, wasn't she?
I know. What a
and then
great
the twist at the end when she died, it was devastating.
I know. I think if they knew it was going to be that successful, they would have changed the ending of the first. I wouldn't have died because can you believe it? Of course, it was 1976.
Wow.
And we had 26 million viewers because in those days you didn't have the choice that we have. I mean, you must, remember. And it was only 7 episodes. I was only in 7 episodes.
No.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember so much so that it was you loved to hate her, didn't you? The character. She was such an incredible character. And yet I'm sure that has followed you around. Even those 7 episodes were so important on how your career went after that.
Well, I mean, I think nobody expected the reaction, least of all the writer. I did a talk with her at the BFI because they showed all of 7 episodes on a big screen. It was incredible. It was like watching a sort of 1960s, like a French movie. It was extraordinary. And we did a little chat, and she said she didn't mean the father to be in love with the daughter. She didn't write that in the book. She didn't write that the father loved the daughter.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, and that was complete. This shows actually how directors and actors can change things, because that was completely down to our director Tony Warmby and Frank Finlay. The way Frank Finlay used to look at me, and Tony obviously saw something there, encouraged it, and then it sort of ballooned into something else, an issue which is still relevant today, of course.
Of course.
Incest.
Yes.
Although you never saw, nothing ever happened. It was all inferred.
Yes.
And Frank was such a brilliant screen actor. Frank was, and stage actor, but that it was just the way he looked at me, when I was in a bikini.
Oh God, I remember it.
All very
extraordinary.
Very,
I remember it well.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I did lots of different things after that. I didn't come out of that and just play that part. I was very lucky, really.
No, I meant I'm sure that's what made your name, Susan, because I've always, the minute I hear your name, they think, oh my God, Susan Penhaligon. So it made you into a household name very young.
Yeah.
Yes, I was 26, but it's what they call now a breakthrough role, isn't it? They call it a breakthrough role.
Yes, absolutely.
And
They should repeat it.
Very lucky break.
Yeah, fabulous. Susan, you're an extraordinary actress, obviously, and we all remember so many things, not just Bouquet of Barbed Wire. You've done so many amazing parts, as we were saying, but you're also a brilliant writer, aren't you? Because I've ordered your book. It hasn't arrived yet, but I know that it's about Cornwall. It's got so many aspects to it, and it's called For the Love of Angel. Fascinating. So I can't wait to read it. Are you doing, or can you tell us about the book, or are you writing more? Are you producing other novels?
No, I'm not. I wrote it some years ago, and I wanted to write about Cornwall because it's where I'm from, and as I get older I feel more and more Cornish, which strange things that happen, that you want to go back to your roots,
Yes, it's true.
It's odd. Wanted to get out, having to leave that rather insular place, which it was in the late 60s, you know, it's all changed now. But so anyway, I wrote this book. I had a lot of research, and I set it in the 1880s, and it's a love story, really. But I haven't written anything since, and it's okay. It's not going to win it didn't win the Booker Prize, and I suddenly realized that actually yes, I think I can write, and I write poetry all the time, but there are other people who write better than me, and I don't know why, but I haven't been able to write a second book. And they say everyone's got a one book in them, don't they? So that's what it is.
And the second book is hard, but I was thinking about you being brought up, spending so much time in St. Ives, because I used to go there on holiday with my parents, and I just loved it. It's such a creative place, isn't it? Beautiful with art. Yeah, it's inspiring. So no wonder you want to go back.
Yes, I mean, it's only again as you get older you realize what your influences were, and of course in the 50s, all those artists, all those very famous abstract artists were down there. They're all Paul Piston painting, you know, at that time. But it was
the
all,
same then.
Yes,
nothing changes.
It was very left banky, you know. It was very liberal for the times. I mean, they all used to take their clothes off and rush into the sea, and you know. And then that was on the one hand, and then the other hand, you have the Cornish who were Methodist, and they tolerated the artists, but there was this division. And my mother kind of fell in with the artists. So I had all these artistic influences, you know, really extraordinary. And very bohemian.
Very.
Yes,
I do remember that actually.
Do you?
I remember St. Ives so well. You know, I just thought it was such an incredible place, and so full of wonderful, you know, people and kind of hippie-ish and interesting, you know.
The hippies all came down. Donovan came down. Do you remember Donovan?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I remember. I met Donovan a few times. I think, Debbie, you worked with Donovan, didn't you?
Well, no, the weird thing is that Dee's and I, that where we first met was when I was working with Donovan.
Yeah.
Which I did a play. He wrote a musical called The Lives, the Wives, which we did at the National. And Dee's husband at the time was he the co-director, Dee?
Yeah, he was. He was Bill Bryden's assistant.
Yeah.
So that's when I met Debbie 40 years ago.
Oh my! We're still here.
How weird is that?
Donovan was amazing.
What about an autobiography, Sue? Sue, what about an autobiography?
Well, I don't know. Have you done it?
Yeah.
Yes. Have you written one? Have you all written one? Have you?
No, God, I don't know where to start. I think I'd find it quite difficult. I find going back quite hard, and I think it would make me too upset somehow.
Well, that's exactly, I was asked about it, and I started going through all my memorabilia, and I thought, I don't want to go back. That's exactly why I
no, it's hard.
Although I can, it's hard. Yeah. And I'm not sure I want to go there. That's why I decided, but that might change, I suppose. Never say never.
No, and actually, someone's writing it down, whatever you've been through, it actually gets rid of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You write it down, and all those different stages in your life, horrendous things that happen. Once they're down on paper, if you blow it, it just goes away, and it's gone
I don't
forever.
think it's about awful things with me. It's about family, and I think, you know, I still find it hard to get over the loss of my mum, and that was, you know.
Yeah, but I mean,
25 years
that's
ago.
what I mean about awful things that happened. You know, I can't. I mean, I've just lost my brother, and I'll never get over that. And so you kind of have to find a way through it. Do you know what I mean? And that was one of the ways I did it. You know, in that book, and I wrote it. So it was kind of, and then I just shut the book and blew it away.
I had a very jealous mother. and
Right.
jealous of everything I did. Jealous, nothing. You know, it's so lovely to hear about. You know, when I hear people saying, "Oh, my mother died, and I'll never, I miss it." It's something that I've never experienced, because everything I did, my mother criticized. She was probably on the narcissistic spectrum. In fact, I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
And approaching all that would be very. I don't know whether I want to come. Well, I've said it now. I don't know whether I want to publicize it.
Yes.
But
No, I get that.
having said that, having said that, there might be a lot of other people, a lot of other women, particularly, who have those kind of mothers. So it
would be
might
grateful to hear it. Yeah, they might be
that's
grateful
excellent.
to know they're not alone.
Susan.
and share.
Yeah,
Yes.
I loved that when you said that. That's just so honest and, inspiring. Thank you.
And I'm one of the lucky ones, because my mum was incredible, and I find it every day. In fact, I miss her. I miss calling her up.
Have you only got one dog now?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Only one.
They're not allowed in theatres anymore, dogs at all.
Except for King Charles Cavalier Spaniels, because King Charles Cavalier Spaniels have the freedom of the theatres. Because King Charles, when he was in power, brought all his little Cavalier Spaniels to the theatre. And he said they have the freedom of the theatre. So if a theatre tells you can't bring your King Charles Cavalier to the theatre, they're actually going against the law. So
Debbie, can I ask? I've got a Cavapoo, so he could come halfway in, and then poo outside.
Yes.
That would be okay. So he could come.
Stand at the stage door.
There you go. Yeah. So that, at least I'm halfway there.
So you have to call him Harriet. Don't call him a Cavapoo. Call him a Cavalier Poo. And
Cavalier
then,
Poo.
Yes,
Freedom.
because that gives him
Especially when he
name.
poos. Yeah.
That's what
And
I'm going to do.
the only reason I know this is this particular tale is because I actually had a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, and when I was working at the Haymarket Theatre, the dogs weren't allowed backstage. And I told the stage doorman, he said, "What dog have you got?" I said, "I've got a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel." He said, "You can bring your dog here."
Yes.
Wow.
And he told me the story.
Amazing.
So my dog used to sit in my dressing room because he was a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel.
Wow.
So there you go.
So all performers need to get.
It might only be the freedom of the London theatres. I'm not sure if it's all the theatres.
We'll have to
Might be
look
the
that
West
up.
End. We'll have to find out.
Yes.
Yes.
So we can all get King Charles Cavalier Spaniels and have the freedom of all the theatres then.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Fabulous.
Well, that's not. I've got a Chihuahua who is my granddaughter, Susan, and it would be a nightmare in the theatre. God only knows what he'd be like.
But you look after him all the time, don't you, Sherry?
Mostly. He's not here today, funnily enough.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a first.
he's on holiday today, so
Yes.
Or you are.
I am. Yeah. So, Susan, what's next? What's coming next for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's still pretty grim out there, isn't it?
It's still very grim. Yeah.
Theatres. I don't really know. I just wait, like a lot of us.
All of
wait
us,
to see
yeah.
what turns up. All of us, and hope I've got enough in the bank to see me through.
Yeah. We're all saying that, aren't we?
It's
Absolutely.
been I'm so pleased you came on the show. It's been so lovely to meet you in real life. Well, sort of real life as well.
Real life.
New real life.
The new real life, the new Zoom.
Yes,
Do come back, darling.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you for joining us, darling.
Thank you, darling. Enjoy the barge.
Oh, you're wonderful.
Bye.
Bye. That was so wonderful. What an amazing life to be on the river all the time.
Yeah,
Oh,
another
so
friend of
fantastic.
mine lives on a canal boat, and it's like a very posh hotel room. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I don't know
wonderful.
if I'd have the courage.
Great idea.
I think in this sort of weather, it's fine. I think
Yeah,
I don't really fancy it when it's horrible and raining and
For
Yeah.
me,
Can I ask
what it
about-
is it
And the rats.
nighttime? It's nighttime that would worry me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're on your own. My
Yeah.
friend Andy's on her own on a boat, And I said,
That
and
is
she said, no,
worrying.
I'm fine. I'm locked down. There's nothing.
I want a big wolfhound or something. But also, I need to just say the words lavatories. Isn't there a pumping system on a barge?
Oh no,
you have to do all that.
Yeah, you have to do all that.
No,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
the
like
only
when you're
thing.
caravanning, isn't it? With the caravan,
Yes,
with the gunny and all of
sounds
that.
like
lot.
hard work to me.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think,
no.
I think
Yeah,
we
you're
stay
right.
on dry land.
we do, dear. Flush
I
away.
think so. Absolutely. For now, we can
Anyway,
visit.
guys,
We
we
can visit.
will see you on Friday. We will be back.
We will.
We will.
Bye,
Bye,
darling.
everyone.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Saporista are proud sponsors of the Wonderbird Show. Treat yourself to the wonderful taste of the Mediterranean, supplied by local artisans.